Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. This is episode 200 of the evening news recap. We have done 200 episodes of this. Isn't that crazy? Genuinely, to me, that is so insane. Thank you to everyone who has, watched a majority of the episodes, who has watched even just one episode. Thank you so much. When I was younger, I've said this before, but when I was younger, it was always my dream to make content on the internet, to be a YouTuber, if you will. And I'm able to do that here. So I'm genuinely, truly grateful that so many of you are not only willing to watch my content, but support it, day after day. We started this in around February, and I started making content as a whole in January, and it's been great. It genuinely has been. I'm extremely grateful for all of you, for all the paid subscribers, for all the free subscribers, whatever you are. You guys are all amazing. Thank you all so much for supporting my work. We genuinely would not be at 200 episodes if it wasn't for you. So thank you all. I really appreciate it. I know I'm in my Halloween costume again. God forbid I have a little whimsy, But hey, hopefully all you guys are doing well. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We are trying to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. That's just my goal. Yeah, let's get that done. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for, in college, like my groceries, like all those things. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. My mom is blowing up my phone right now, but we'll respond to that later. With that being said, though, let's get into the news from today. Moving on to the Trump administration segment, as we do, Trump has ordered the Defense Department to test nukes. Trump has announced that he has ordered the Defense Department to immediately start testing nukes. In a post on True Social, Trump wrote, "The United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country. This was accomplished including a complete update and renovation of existing weapons during my first term in office. Because of the tremendous and destructive power, I hated to do it, but I had no choice. Russia is second, and China is a distant third, but will be even within 5 years. Because of other countries' testing programs, I have instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That process will begin immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter." So, does this mean that we are going to bring back all of these nuclear workers that are now in furlough? Because I don't know how he expects to do this without all of them. I mean, over 1,000 workers currently do not have a job right now when they're supposed to be overseeing the nuclear weapons supply of this country. So, are we going to bring them back? Or are we just going to, let them chill out in limbo? Also, where the hell does he plan to test these nuclear weapons? And islands in the Pacific? I would hope so, because you can't just go to, modern day Nevada in the middle of the desert and just drop one there and test it. Modern nukes are definitely a lot stronger than what we dropped on Japan. And, I'm not a nuclear expert, but I feel like most people can recognize that. So, I mean, what is the plan here? What are we gonna do? How are we even supposed to test these? Genuinely. Because you can't just drop a nuke in the middle of continental United States. That's not gonna work. Are you going to drop it in the Pacific? Probably. But what islands are you going to test it on? The United States has thousands of Pacific islands, yes. But, what is the point? Genuinely. In other news, Trump has said it is almost treasonous to criticize him. Trump has lashed out at Chuck Schumer's criticism of him going to Asia, calling it almost treasonous, while flexing that he spent trillions of dollars on his trip. In a post on True Social, Trump wrote, "Worked really hard, 24/7, took in trillions of dollars, and Chuck Schumer said the trip was a total dud, even though he knows it was a spectacular success. Words like that are almost treasonous." It is absolutely crazy that Trump, for one, is traveling across the world while over 40 million of the people of his country will not have food in 2 days, and he is doing nothing to change that. In fact, he is supporting, those people not having food. But also, for him to say that criticizing him is treasonous is also insane. Genuinely. For one, you can say whatever you want about the president. I could say that Donald Trump smells like donkey balls, and he can't do anything about that. Genuinely. You can thank John Adams for that after he tried to arrest people for saying things against him, and then they realized that's against freedom of speech. But also, it's an attack of freedom of speech. So how is he going to complain that it is almost treasonous to speak out against him, because it's not. Actually, it's the furthest thing from that. People are kind of encouraged to speak out against the president and the government when things are going wrong. So, how the hell is he going to say something like this? Especially when millions of Americans are suffering. Genuinely. In other news, holy voice crack. In other news, Trump has demanded Joe Biden to be jailed. In a wild post on Truth Social, Trump has called for the former President Joe Biden to be jailed. In his post, he wrote, "He is a criminal and should be in jail, a major lowlife and a failure, an ugly person both inside and out. I beat him badly and would love watching him squirm now." Along with this, he posted an article that claims Joe Biden put members of the FBI in January 6 crowds, even though he wasn't even in office at the time. You know who should be in jail for actually being a criminal? Donald John Trump. He should be in jail right now, except he's in the White House. It is wild that a man who can't even remember that he was in office on January 6th, not Biden, not anyone else, Trump was in office that day, and there is no way that Biden could have done any of that. Like, there is no way. That's not even possible. Trump should be in jail for so many reasons, and if he wasn't in the White House right now, he would be in jail. Yet, because he won, he gets to be out of jail. Rather than calling for his predecessor to be jailed, he needs to shut his trap and be happy that he isn't in jail himself. Because he should have been a long time ago. And, on the off chance that he lives throughout this administration, I can't wait to see that jumpsuit picture. In other news, the Senate has voted to end tariffs in 100 countries. The US Senate has voted to end Trump's tariffs on more than 100 countries. 4 Republicans joined Democrats in a vote that ended 51-47, making it the third time this week Republicans worked with Democrats on a tariff resolution, previously being Brazil and Canada. Republican Senators Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, and Lisa Murkowski, joined the Democrats in this ruling. This is great news for trade and for the American people, of course. Tariffs are horrible for all of us and our economy because we, as the American citizen, has to pay them. Have to pay them. That's not proper English. Like the importer pays the tariff, and then the tariff gets pushed on to the consumer. That's how a tariff works. Basic explanation, if you will. Not the other country. It is us, the American people, who have to pay those tariffs. This will hopefully help with costs during the holiday seasons, hopefully, which is very necessary, especially right now with SNAP benefits likely not being existent, and so many other issues in the federal government over the next few months and the next few years. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment, Texas is allowing judges to refuse same-sex marriage. The Texas Supreme Court has allowed judges to decline marriage to same-sex couples based on their religious beliefs. Texas Supreme Court Clerk Blake Hawthorne said in a statement, "The order speaks for itself. The court cannot comment on this connection to its pending litigation." But the ruling itself reads, "It is not a violation of these canons for a judge to publicly refrain from performing a wedding ceremony based on a sincerely held religious belief." We're going to take a sip of water real quick. Okay. I'm sorry, but this is absolutely bullshit. Genuinely. There is no reason why religion should prevent people from getting married, and there's also no reason why religion should play a role in our country's politics. Truly, it is the stupidest thing that I have ever heard, that religion is dictating who someone can love. That is so stupid. There is no reason why anyone should be stopped from marrying someone they love, because love is human nature. Love is love. And if you disagree, genuinely go fuck yourself. That's all I gotta say to you. I don't care if that looks bad. I do not care. If you do not support gay marriage, go fuck yourself, buddy. That's my statement. I don't care if that looks bad on anything. That's what I got to say. Anyways, moving on into our final topic for tonight. Military officials do not know who they are killing in the Caribbean. Defense Department officials don't know who they have killed in military strikes against alleged drug smuggling boats that have killed a total of 57 people. In a meeting with members of the House Armed Services Committee, lawmakers said that they have not been given an explanation of who are being struck, along with the fact that they were frustrated with the overall lack of justification for these actions. Representative Sarah Jacobs, from a Democrat from California, said in a statement, officials said that they do not need to positively identify individuals on these vessels to do strikes. They just need to prove that the connection is to smuggling. When we tried to get more information, we did not get satisfactory answers. This does not shock me at all. Just as I said the other day, we are going to commit and are actively committing atrocities in this conflict with Venezuela. We are going to witness a conflict that is not only illegal, but will be absolutely insane. You can hate on me all you want for this, but this conflict with Venezuela will be the Vietnam of my generation. That's just what it's going to be. Most of the people who went and fought in Vietnam didn't really know much about Vietnam. I guarantee you, most of the people who are going to fight in Venezuela didn't know or don't know much about Venezuela, along with the things like a regime change, and overall territorial ambitions, as if you will, when it comes to influence. And last time I checked as well, we also don't have the greatest track record in jungles. So it's going to be an interesting conflict, but it's going to be an impactful one, especially on my generation for sure. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. It has definitely been a very interesting day in the news world, that is for sure. If you're new here, though, please consider subscribing. All the support is greatly appreciated as we are trying to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. I believe we can do it. We're getting real close. We're in the home stretch. I think we're like 39 away. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support is greatly appreciated. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like food, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. And with that being said, thank you all for watching the 200th episode of Bray's News Recap. It is genuinely insane to me that we have made it to 200 episodes. I didn't think that would ever be the case, but I'm grateful. I really am. Thank you all for watching this episode. Thank you all for watching all the episodes. Whether you found me on TikTok, whether you found me on YouTube, whether you found me on Substack, wherever you found me, thank you. You guys mean the world to me. I genuinely appreciate it so, so much. And with that being said, thank you all for watching today's episode. There will not be one tomorrow because it's Halloween, but I will see you all